start somewhere. For me, as well as some of your parents, it was at a high school driver's education class. We had the OG instructor, our gym teacher, high school coach, science teacher, but things have changed. You're in a privatized, for-profit business. I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach adults, I teach teens. You have to pass the test. If you don't, I'll see you next month. If you don't pass your driving, you'll have to come back at a month or 2 months from now. I always want to be real with you, and I'm not going to lie. Okay. So graduated licensing system. All states have this across the United States. Driving is a privilege, not a right. You have to earn your driver's license through attendance. Some of you have already missed days. Some of you have already come late. Some of you are behind in you doing your in-class work. Okay. So from experience, that means a little bit of a struggle. So if you're over 18, you're not in a driver's education class like this. You go straight to the Secretary of State. You get something called a TIP, which is a temporary instruction permit. And with that temporary instruction permit, you will drive with someone over 21 for 30 days. Okay. Then when you're ready, you go take your road test. But the rest of you, you're in a level 1 class. Okay. I teach level 1, and I'm describing that right now. And I'm going to describe level 2. Level 1, you have 24 hours of class, 6 hours behind the wheel, and then you take a test. It's a 80-question knowledge test. Okay. You have to pass the test. I set high standards for myself, high standards for my students. We do the wheel of names. We do quizzes. We look at Wham Bam Tesla. I look at more current videos than what the school does, and I'm not scared to say that. They know this, but we're all trying to get better. And most students love the class because of the Kahoots, the quizzes, all those smaller things, the wheel of names. And many of you have said this, I love the engagement. It keeps me engaged, but also some of you are exposed. You don't do your work. And that's just like this at the high school or college level. You know what it is. So once you pass your test, you're going to get emailed a digital certificate. Okay. You got to pass your test, pass your driving. Your instructor will drop this off at the main office. Then it takes about 12 days for it to be processed. They're going to check your attendance. They're going to check your drive card. They're going to verify that I'm certified. Every 2 years, your instructors need to go take a physical, background check, professional development. I did mine last week because I'm a go-getter and we have a new course and I learned a lot of information. So I want to give you that information as quickly as possible. Okay. So you're going to get a 71 completion certificate. It will be emailed to you. You and your parent need to go to the Secretary of State. You got to have a valid Social Security number. When you were born, you got a valid Social Security number. It came in the mail. Your parents usually put it in the safe, a shoebox, someplace in the house that is safe. Then when you turn of driving age, you go to Secretary of State with your level 1 certificate. You have proof of legal residence, a piece of mail, and proof of your identity and residency. It could be a school ID. It could be a state ID. You have to have these things because this is 2026 and people will assume your identity. Okay. I'm going to keep moving. Level 1 allows you to drive with someone 21 or older. You can't drive with someone 20 or 19 or 18 or 17. The state has identified if you're about 21 years old, you should be able to teach someone how to drive. They should be able to verify your hours. Please listen to this. A lot of students get confused. You need to have 30 hours of supervised driving and 2 hours at night. This has to be over 3 months. I'll say it again. You should write this down. Many of you will have the same questions. You have to have 30 hours of driving and 2 at night over a 3-month period. Okay? You can't come back earlier than 3 months. You can come back later than 3 months. What does this mean? You need to drive an hour and a half per week. Your parents work, they're tired, they're not going to be able to drive you when you want to drive, so you're going to have to compromise. Okay? I want to keep moving. Please listen. After your 30 hours in 3 months, you can come back for a segment 2 class. Any driver's ed school in the country offers a segment 2. Okay? What did we talk about in segment 2? Defensive driving, crash avoidance, gift of life. Okay? These are some things you need to know, but you don't need to know because you're in a segment 1 class. Okay? But they will help you. When you come into the segment 2 class, you have to have a minimum of 30 hours. Some of you will be 15.5, 15.8, 16.1, 16.2, 3, 4, 5, all. It depends on your birthday. Okay? Before you can take your road test, you have to have 50 hours in total. Okay? 10 of which are at night. This is required before you can take your road test. So you have to have 50 hours in total. If you don't have 50 hours and you're not 16, you cannot take your road test in our state. I'll say it again. You have to have 50 hours, 10 hours at night. You have to be 16. Okay? Let's talk about segment 2. It's right in front of you. I'm going through it. In order to receive your level 2 license, the individual must at least be 16, which I just talked about. You have to have your level 1 for a minimum of 6 months. So some of you are saying, well, how do they know? When you go to the Secretary of State, you're going to get a permit issue date. Let's pretend you go tomorrow, 5/7/26. It's a date that is on your permit. It has to be 3 months from that date, or 6 months from that date, or 7 months from that date. I hear some of you dropping off. It is what it is. We're going to keep going. The platform is pretty stable. Zoom is not perfect. Google Meets is not perfect, but for our purposes, Zoom is decent. 9 out of 10. Okay. I'm going to keep going just to keep it moving. And it's your responsibility to write down questions. I'll put in new names in the random name generator and we go get it going. Okay. So level 2, got to be 16, got to have 50 hours. It's all documented in an app. It's called Road Ready. It's for iPhone or Android, but also you can write it on paper. And then whatever driving school you go to, they will verify those dates. You'll have to bring them with you. You can download them on your phone. Okay? You and your parent are responsible for keeping those hours. Okay? Let's go on to some other information in segment 2 because you need to know this and I'm required to go over it. Level 2 license allows the individual to drive alone. Level 2, not level 1. I'll say it again. All of you will be on level 1. You can't drive by yourself. Okay? You cannot. If you do and get caught, they could put you back to the beginning, make you take driver's ed over. They could extend your probationary period. All teams want to know this. What if I get caught? What if I'm driving by myself? It says it. Level 2 allows the individual to drive by themselves at certain times. This is 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Some of you may have jobs. You need to get jobs. Gas is $5 a gallon. Maintenance. Show your parents that you're responsible. Get that job and they will appreciate you. They can only drive during the time frames if at least one of the following applies. If you're with your mom or dad, you can drive past 10. If you're with someone 21 or older, if you're going to and from a school-sanctioned event, or coming to or from an employer. Let's pretend you work at McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King. It depends. So you need to get your employer to write you a note. You might have to stay after 10:30 or 11 to clean up something. Okay? I think I'm very clear on this. You have this too. This is nothing new. But I realized from being an educator, some of you don't read. Because if I put this in the quizzy, a third of you will get this wrong because you just don't read. Let's keep moving. Level 2 license also prohibits driving with more than one passenger age 21 or younger. Please listen. The more people you have in a car, the more likely you are to crash. You're going to have a question on your test about this. I'm always referring back to your test. Level 2 license also prohibits driving with more than one passenger age 21 or younger at all times unless one of the previously listed situations apply. You saw one, they are accompanied by a parent or guardian. 2, they're driving to or from a school event. Or 3, they're driving to or from an employer. Okay? You don't know what state of mind the police will be in. They might be nice. They might say, hey, go home. They might give you a ticket. And then you're going to have to go to court. And then if the judge knows the law, because I know judges in this area, they're going to say you're in violation of your probation. You're going to have to be on level 1 for 2 years. We're tired of teens breaking the law. We're tired of teens crashing. So you don't want to go there, but some of you will. Let's talk about level 3. In order to receive your level 3 license, this is 3. This is when you're free. You got to be at least 17, have had a level 2 license for a minimum of 6 months, have had 12 consecutive violation-free months of driving. You can't get a ticket. You can't get a speeding ticket. You can't get a stop sign ticket. If you get a ticket, you're screwed. I'll say it again. If you get a ticket, seatbelt ticket, speeding ticket, rolling stop sign, you have screwed yourself. Your parents are upset because their insurance will go up. Don't be that kid, but it's always 1 or 2. Okay? For a minimum of 6 months, have had 12 consecutive violation-free months of driving. The level 3 license allows the individual to drive without any restrictions. So around 17 years old, late 16 and a half, you can come in when you want. But you still should come in before 10. But why? You're going to fall asleep. You're tired. You have no business being out past 11 or 12 or 1. You have no business. Let's keep moving. Residents 18 and older who have never been licensed, you have to go to Secretary of State. I just talked about this. You got to have a TIP, a temporary instruction permit. This allows you to drive with someone 21 or up. You have to take a written test at Secretary of State. I think it's $20 or $25. Prices vary from state to state. Nothing is free. You can't go in Secretary of State and ask for something free. It costs money. Okay? You got to pass the written test. 1, you have to have proof of a Social Security number. We all have one. You have to have proof of U.S. citizenship or legal residency. You have to have identification of your state residency. Once you receive the TIP, you can practice with a licensed adult for 30 days. You may have a brother or a sister who's 25. They have anxiety. They were in a crash post-COVID. They don't want to drive, but they have a TIP and it's expired. They need to go back to Secretary of State, renew it, and then they can drive. Okay? These things are on the test. We went over some of them. Other licenses, endorsements, a chauffeur's license. I have a chauffeur's license. Okay. Must have a driver's license, which I have. You guys don't have that. I'm over 16 and I passed a written chauffeur's test. I do not have a commercial driver's license or CDL. I don't want to drive a truck, but I could get a class 1 CDL to drive a party bus or limousine bus. That would be nice. That's thinking. Must have a driver's license, written knowledge test, and a road test, which I have. Must be at least 18, which I have. Have been licensed suspension-free for 36 months. I don't have tickets. And have the appropriate CDL group designation. If I wanted to become a bus driver, I have to take a CDL test for air brakes, how to drive a school bus. If I want to learn how to drive a semi-truck, or a gas tanker truck, or I have to take a test, okay? Moped license. I don't want to drive a moped. People are going to steal them. E-bikes. Eventually, they're going to pass laws for e-bikes because your age group and people who are in their 30s and 40s and 50s are crashing, doing face plants. We saw it on the video yesterday. So you're going to see that probably in the next couple of years. You guys will probably be out of high school. Some of you are in 9th grade, some of you are in 10th, right? Some of you have friends on e-bikes, but they're passing laws. Unlicensed teens age 15 and up can apply with the parent approval. They must pass a vision and written test at the Secretary of State. That's going to happen. You're going to see an e-bike license added on or some type of legal endorsement because a lot of teens are dying and adults are dying too. Okay. Motorcycle endorsement. We talked about this. If you want to try to ride a motorcycle, you have to have completed your motorcycle's rider education course and a motorcycle road test or pass a written test and a motorcycle road test. They give those at community colleges. The motorcycle rider education course is for teens 16 and 17 and for adults who have failed the motorcycle road test twice. Okay. The next part is even more important. We're talking about the HTS. Understanding the HTS, that's the Highway Transportation System. Laws that govern this: National Traffic Motor Vehicle Act. Legislation regulates for vehicle manufacturers with safety features, vehicle emissions, and recalls. Let's pretend you have a 2026 Impala. The airbag could deploy. They're going to issue an immediate recall. You take it into the dealer. They deactivate the airbag. They pull the dash out. They fix the connector free of charge. Okay. Let's talk about B, National Highway Safety Act. They establish general rules for state regulations concerning vehicle registrations. We talked about vehicle registrations yesterday. If you don't have a vehicle registration, you will be arrested and your car will be impounded because you can't prove who owns the car. Driver's licensing and traffic laws. Let's talk about uniform traffic control devices. All traffic lights are the same across the United States. They're either vertical, up and down, or horizontal, left or right. Yellow is always in the middle. Red is always at the top. Green is always at the bottom. Okay? They're the same shape, color, and they're usually in the same location. But different states can have them in different areas. State governments, following the guidelines set by the federal law that enacts statutes that regulates all aspects of the highway transportation system. Signs, speed limit signs, pavement markings. If we live in Hawaii, you might have a different type of warning sign because there are volcanoes. If we live in Texas, we're close to Mexico, we could have people who are coming from Mexico, so you might see a custom sign, do not pick up hitchhikers. If we live in a state that has a lot of mountain rock slides, such as maybe Ohio, you might have a warning sign, watch out for loose rocks. Okay. If you live in Florida, you might have a warning sign, watch out for alligators and crocodiles. You get what I'm saying. Okay. Every state can make up custom signs. Local governments, cities, and towns pass laws that regulate the use of HTS within their own region. For example, some local governments do not allow cell phone usage while driving. Okay. I'm going over 3 more. You're going to put in your questions. I'm going to redo the wheel of names. I'm going to show you what we learned yesterday. And then we're going over worksheet 1. I'm calling random people. Evan, be ready. Let's talk about responsibilities of road users. This is for all of us. Every driver who shares the HTS has a responsibility for knowing the rules and laws on the road. You have to know them. Ignorance is no excuse. Well, you can't say, I'm new. I forgot this. I don't have insurance. My blinker's broke. I got a cracked windshield. You have to know the rules. Every driver has 4 basic legal responsibilities. 1, make sure you're in good physical shape. Get your rest. Hydrate. 2, make sure your vehicle is in good physical shape. Good tires. Doesn't have to be new tires, but good tires, good brakes. The cooling system work, charging system work, windshield wiper blades, tail lights, because you don't want your car to break down when you finally go on your first road trip to Cedar Point or to New York or to Dallas or to Chicago. Because if your car breaks down, you are out in the middle of nowhere. And that's a very scary proposition, but it does happen. 3, make sure you have the necessary driver's license requirements for your vehicle you are operating. Okay. If you're riding a motorcycle, you should have the proper motorcycle endorsements. If you're on an e-bike or scooter, make sure you have those proper endorsements. If you're in a car, make sure you have those proper things. You should always check in your glove compartment to have your registration, to have your insurance. Your title stays home in a safe location. You never have your title with you because if your car is stolen, someone now has an opportunity to forge your name or their name, and they now legally have your car. So please remember this. We went over that yesterday too. So you see where the notes we're going over, or I'm going over, tie into your work. Let's talk about insurance. You must be able to satisfy the demands of state financial responsibility laws. Every driver must expect the unexpected. A deer's going to come out. A kid's going to come out in front of you. Grandma's going to back out and sideswipe your car. Your neighbor's 19-year-old girl or boy is going to fly down the street and knock off your mirror. You have to expect those unexpected things. We're going to have drivers not knowing how to go through a roundabout. You hit the curb, you hit a sign, you lose control of the car. So you always have to expect unexpected things, and it's our job to eliminate risk. All drivers assume risk. As soon as we get in the car, I'm driving with some of you this weekend, I'm assuming risk because you don't know what to do. We start out in the school parking lot. None of you asked me that. Then we go into the neighborhood. We go around the school 4 times. I want to see good hand over hand turns in, hand over hand turns out. I want to see you looking left before you go left. I want to see you looking right. Beginning drivers don't look where they're going. Don't worry, I have videos to show you. A lot of you will look down at the steering wheel or down at your hands. Please don't do that. Please wear thin sole shoes so you can feel the gas pedal and brake pedal. Our left foot goes to the dead pedal. Our right foot pivots between the brake and gas. Don't wear Crocs. If you wear Crocs, I'm not driving you. I'll say it again. Don't wear Crocs. Don't wear open-toe sandals. Okay? Because that's not safe for me or you. Your foot could get stuck between the gas and brake. Your foot could slide out. Do not wear Crocs. Do not wear open-toe sandals. Wear a thin sole shoe so you can feel the gas and brake. I'm going through 2 more because that's what I need to do. You're going to be going over worksheet 1, and then we're making you successful. All of this will be on the test. If you really want to do well, you highlight this information, you write down main points, you put your questions in. So when I call you on the wheel of names, you are intelligent. You have a DOK level 3 question. If you don't know what a DOK level 3 question is, look it up. Because we have to move from yes and no simple answers. Remember, I'm an educator. Share the roadway. In order to share the roadway safely and effectively, each driver must be aware and anticipate movements of others. Elderly, pedestrians, school buses, city buses, semi-truck drivers, drivers who are older, who are in their 70s and 80s and 90s, younger drivers who are in their teens, early 20s. It takes 10 years to learn how to drive and to become a master. All of you, including me, will be dealing with all of those types of road users. Okay, we saw a video yesterday of a guy who stole an e-bike. The guy was chasing him. He was trying to bump him with his car, but the guy flipped and did a face plant, and the guy's e-bike was ruined. You're going to see more of those things because people steal each other's projects, and then we saw karma. Pedestrians, please remember, pedestrians are the most common and very unpredictable. Children are very small, difficult to see, combined with their poor judgment. What does this mean? You're backing out. Your neighbor's like, hi, Sally. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Evan. Hi. And then they don't move. And you're like, hold on, little Sally. I'm going to put the car in park. I'm going to sit you on the porch. I'm going to ring the doorbell. Hi, Mrs. Sally's parents. Can you hold your daughter? I'm trying to back out and not back into her. Because once you learn to drive, your neighbors, the little kids, hi, they want to be around you. You're popular. They will walk out in front of you when you're backing out. They will walk in front of you when you're pulling in. Why? You're their hero, Sophia. You're their hero, Evan. You're their hero, Lyric. They want to be by you. They saw you. Can you take me to the store? I will later, but go on the porch. Okay. It happens to me every day when I come home. Hi. I'm like, oh my God. 5 kids come running out and my dog is barking in the glass. I got to calm down. I'm watching the kids. Okay. So children are very unpredictable. You have to be very aware of them near schools, playgrounds, and especially residential areas. So you cannot let your guard down. Don't worry, I'm going to put questions together on this. Let's talk about number 2, the elderly and physically or visually impaired. People are living longer. 60. 60 is the new 40. 80 is the new 60. 90 is the new 60. 100 is the new 70. People are lifting weights, eating good. They are living longer. As a result, you can have elderly drivers on the road driving who drive a little slower, who might run a light, who don't use their blinker. You need to be aware of this. And when you're in the car with me, I'm going to ask you, tell me about this driver. I don't know. Then we're going to have to stop the car. Hey, they're a teen. What are some dangerous things? They might not use a blinker. Hey, that's an older man or woman. They might not be able to check their blind spot, or they're going a little slow, or they might run the light. You need to be ready for these situational questions because that's what's on your test. Avoid honking at them in the crosswalk. You will scare them. Stop revving your engine around them. That's very disrespectful. That distracts them. They might have hearing aids. They might not be able to hear you, or they might walk slower. Adults should know better, but we know adults don't know better. They often jaywalk. They walk not near the crosswalk. When we go to downtown areas to master right turns and left turns, people are going to walk between cars. You need to be ready. I'm expecting it. Always yield to pedestrians, even when they enter the roadway improperly. Avoid blocking the designated crosswalk. Let's talk about animals. We'll end with large animals. Animals, both small and large animals, may unexpectedly dart into your path during your driving experience. Example, my dog, she's almost 9. Most of the time I can look at her, and when I say stop, she'll freeze and kind of move around. We have this other Yorkie, and I'm giving you a real life example because that's how we learn. I don't know this Yorkie. He's only been in the home like 3 months. He doesn't listen. He's smaller. He'll run across the street. I'm like, whoa, who am I going to save? I'm not going to answer that question, but I don't want the dogs to get ran over. And if you have a dog, you put in dog in the chat, right? Your dog loves you and your dog would do anything for you. So I don't want to come home. The door opens because the dogs are going to run out. The kids are going to run out. A school bus is coming. Someone is going to get ran over. I will run out in the street and save people. So save yourself. Tell your mom and dad, don't open the door till I come home. Make sure the kids are up. Okay? So animals, big and small, can come out in your path. We don't veer for deer. You have to be very aware of small animals. In residential, downtown, and rural areas, deer can come out anywhere. Downtown areas, residential in our neighborhoods, and particularly in rural areas. Okay? You have to be aware. We don't veer for them. If a small animal enters your path, you should check traffic, look in your mirror, brake sharply. It doesn't say swerve. If you swerve and cause an accident, it is your fault. I'll say it again. If you swerve because of an animal and you hit someone or kill someone, it is your fault. Human life is worth more than animal life. A state patrol officer told me this. Human life is worth more than animal life. You want to squeeze your brakes, both hands on the wheel. Just before impact, you lift your foot because the front end of the car will dip down. The deer could flip over the car, go to the left, go to the right, go under the car, or come through the window. Do you really want a deer inside? that could kill you. And that's going to be $3,000 to $5,000 worth of damage. And most of you will have the second or third car in the family. You're not getting a new whip. Mom is driving that. Dad is driving that. You're not getting a new whip. You haven't earned enough yet. So you're going to have that second or third car, and a $3,000 to $5,000 damaged car, you're done. Honey, you're going to have to work. Mom, I'm a sophomore. I got this coming up, honey. I need a car to go to work. Your mom needs a car to go to work. Your brother's getting ready to go to college. He paid for his car. You need to work. You need to find a job. You get mad, cry, too bad. But then you realize, I got to apply for a job. Okay? So if a small animal enters your path, check traffic. If you cannot avoid a small animal in a safe manner, it is best to make an impact with the animal than put someone's life in danger because of recklessly swerving. Let's talk about large animals. Then we're going to repaste your name. Large animals are more common in rural areas: deer, turkey, skunk, raccoons, foxes. They can cause considerable damage to your vehicle and its occupants. If a large animal enters the pathway, try to brake firmly in a straight line until you are stopped or going as slow as possible before you collide. If a collision with a large animal is imminent, I love language, release the brake just before contact with the animal to lift the front of your vehicle to lessen the likelihood of the animal coming into the hood or potentially hitting the windshield.